Hello, welcome to Daily Report. So today I'm going to start with something a little story here. Hunting, I met over a period of time. I met a few friends, some other acquaintances. They told me about their hobbies, right? So I try to learn from them. So one of this friend of mine I met back in Texas was big into hunting, and one thing I learned from him that it's all about finding opportunities, be patient, use right tools, and all of that. And same goes with like a fishing, right? So you need a lot of patience. Um, you know, use right tools, baits, etc. Again, that is a very common thing when you get into stock market as well, looking for opportunities, right? So right now, today, if you look at it, there are so many things are happening. Elections are coming. There war all over the globe. Some other event, some other events are happening. So let's start talking about that. Let's start with the global events. Some of these global events. I know we started talking about few days ago, and in fact we started tracking some of these things, and I want to just focus on that today. Start from that today. See if I'm seeing something new, if something different is happening. So I'll start with this report that came out today. And again, my goal today is that among all of the things that are happening, can we hunt for some opportunities? Can we find some opportunities, or we just sit back and be patient? So that's kind of my goal is, and I'll talk about some of the opportunities I'm seeing. So what I'm seeing, so I'll talk about that once I finish talking about some of these things. So US economy added around 254,000 jobs last month, right? So I was reading at many places, the expectation was pretty low. Expectation was around $140,000, and this is way above expectation, like literally closer to like double of what they were all the analysts were expecting. So that brings me to something. I took a step back. This is just my own opinion, by the way. Last month I was reading that job report came out, right? Everybody was very happy, and then the revised number came out, right? So it has been happening from, I guess, few months. Even CNN posted this article that and this is not recent article, this is an old article from August 21. New data shows US job growth has been far weaker than initially reported. So this has been a trend, and I was just wondering why. I mean, of course, elections are coming. Everybody want to look good, right? The job is strong and all that. But this is where, when you look at the data, because in the end you are trading, right? You are trying to invest in the stock market, and you have to read between the lines and be careful about it, not just to build some opinion, but to protect yourself when you are investing, when you're trading, right? So when I read this, and by the way, revised numbers are not out yet. I'm assuming the revised number may come out post election. I may be wrong. We'll see. But I won't have my hopes high yet with these numbers. But there are some repercussions, right? Fed is looking very closely at job numbers, right? The interest rate cut that they're gonna have, uh, if they see that the economy is growing very strong, right? Inflation is getting controlled, right? They are not gonna the inflation. Okay, inflation is, I'll talk about inflation. If they want to see economy, right? So they probably will put brakes on the amount of the rate cut, or slow down a little bit on the rate cut side. So that's one of the consequence of strong numbers. Now I started looking into oil. right? So I talked about that yesterday. Oil is up what, 1.5, 1.7% up uh, today. And I talked about why we need to pay very, very close attention to this, right? This number, it's up 2.2%. Yesterday it was up 5%. Right now it's hovering around $75 a barrel. Do you think it's gonna hit $90 a barrel? There are chances. Why I think so? Um, Again, when I go to news sites, right, and I start looking at some of these news, right? So there's a new war just popped up a week ago, week and a half ago, right? And it's there's no chance it's gonna stop in one day. It's probably gonna be a while before we see that each party shows some restraint. But until then, it's gonna just keep on going. And if again Israel bombs Iranian uh, oil, production facilities, it's gonna get much worse. Means you probably gonna see if that happens, you probably gonna see this number start going up. So again, what are the repercussions, right? I'm going to be paying very close attention to energy sector today because oil is kind of keep on going up, and there may be opportunities there, but we need to be careful. About this other report about the strike, which is over by the way today, which is again, I don't know if it's going to restart again, but at least right now it's over. One thing that's going to happen, the supply chain across the globe gonna get impacted, you know, because of the war, because of all these things that are happening right now. So I'm a little worried about inflation again. Literally, oil prices are going up. If it keeps on going up, if it doesn't come down, it's going to impact the other sectors as well. The supply chain glut that is coming up, right? So that is one of my worry, is that the way inflation was going down, or at least whatever was reported month over month, I wonder how it's gonna look going forward, and how the Fed rates are gonna get impacted, things like that, right? So that is something that I'm worried about. I don't know the answer. I don't know how far or how much of an impact it will have. But yeah, we talked about China, right? So apparently, from last couple of weeks, we are seeing. So China introduced a stimulus package, right? And right now there's a holiday going on there. Stock market, Chinese stock market is closed for another maybe few days. So there's a national holiday, so stock market is closed there. But they are in, what I would say. I was listening to some of these reports that the ruling government over there is, from very aggressive stance to kind of little bit on the moderate side of it. Okay, so recently we have seen that there is very aggressive stance from China, like all over the places, right? But few places I was reading recently, based off of some of the meetings that they had, they are kind of going little bit moderate from their aggressive stance. uh, when they do that, right, they introduce this stimulus package. They're not trying to punish their uh, technology companies. They're not trying to punish some of these other industries that they have. Why? Because people are pissed off. I mean, they are losing jobs. The economy, it's not growing, so they needed to do something about it. So I feel like they are gonna keep on doing that stimulus thing that they started. Even after, once the stock market open, you may see some more stimulus coming up. um, which will kind of um, there may be some opportunities there. As I said earlier, like last week, I was talking about Baidu. I was talking about a few other companies, including Alibaba and few other companies. So there may be some content like you need to pay close attention. Uh, don't go all crazy. Again, do your research, don't go all crazy, but keep your exposure low. But there may be some benefit in keeping some China exposure right now, because there's something going on, and it's going to continue, in my opinion, for near future at least. Okay, so let's talk about what I'm seeing in the outlier dashboard. So I talked about the news, what I'm seeing all across the board. I'm just gonna close these tabs so that I have less tabs open in front of me. Okay, let's start with market breadth. From last week or so, since end of last week, I was talking about how I am seeing there's a pressure that's building up, right? We saw you know a recent run up in the stock market. Everything was going up, but it is slowing down. There is a pressure pretty much in all the sectors, right? So there are some sectors, like if you look at the full stock market right now, this indicator is kind of going in that downward trajectory, right? That means that there is a pressure that has built up. And in fact, if you start seeing, if you notice this data, right, there are more stocks which are going in downtrend, and every day there are less stocks, right? If on October 1st there were like 20 stocks, 997 stocks in uptrend. On October 2nd, we have that number went down from 991 to 959. So there are less number of stocks in uptrend and more number of stocks in downtrend, which is kind of, that's how, your pullback start happening, right? More and more stocks are going down, lesser and lesser stocks are going up. So basically, that is what we are seeing, and that is why I'm kind of very careful. Personally, I'll just stay out of the market, right? So I look at full stocks. I just selected that. I selected market breadth for tech sector. Similar story. I'm seeing there is a pressure. Yes, that there are few stocks which are up, but overall, even tech sector is kind of, there's a pressure. So personally, I would stay out of it. If you're trading, stay out of it. Now, there is one sector that caught my attention. Yet I am very careful about that sector, and that sector is energy sector. And why I'm talking about energy sector is, first I look at the data here. So let's see other data, and then I'll talk about why there may be some opportunities. Okay, so if you see from past few days, since war started, you know since war started, the number of stocks in downtrend are going down, right? So on October 1st, if you see my mouse here, on October 1st, there were 23 stocks in uptrend in energy sector and 55 stocks in downtrend. On October 2nd, that number went up for uptrend 24 and 51 in downtrend. October 3rd, we have 26 stocks in uptrend, 46 stocks in downtrend for energy sector. And today, when I opened the portal in the morning before market opened, we had around 29 stocks in uptrend, and 33 in downturn. So you see what is happening here, that the energy sector is kind of going up, and there is a good reason behind it. The oil, the crude oil prices are going up, which means, okay, which means as long as this global instability that's happening, right, the global instability, the war that's happening, if those unfortunate events happen, it's going to keep going up, which going to benefit the energy stocks. So there are some opportunities in energy stock, and again, I would still be very, very careful, because there's still very so many uncertainties. I don't know which way the things will go. Suddenly tomorrow, both parties will sit down and they broker peace, and suddenly oil goes down again. But the way I see it, these things doesn't happen overnight. And then there are like this stock which came in our watch list today, PBA, as a one of the uh, opportunities today. For example, PBA, Pembina Pipeline Corporation, right? So the stock is in uptrend. A buy signal came, right? So few things I look into it. A buy signal came. The oscillator is kind of flattened out. It's kind of will start moving up, right? The heat map is, yes, it is higher. So that is why I'm kind of inclined toward don't go all in. Like if you are planning to make a play in energy sector, be very careful, be very risk averse. And if you want to have some exposure, I mean, there are opportunities. I mean, within Chevron itself, which has been flat for past, or it has been downtrend for past some time, but as soon as this thing started, um, a week ago, this new war has started, I would say. The prices are kind of in that uptrend, which is kind of, there's a correlation between the crude oil and the energy sector prices. So so that's what I was talking about earlier. When I gave you an example, there may be some opportunity in the energy sector, but I will be careful with other places right now. And even in energy sector, I will be very cautious, because these are the things which are out of our control. It can go either way. But as far as some, like, if you ask me, are there any opportunities right now, I would point out to two places. One, energy sector, there may be some opportunities. Second, China exposure. So these are the two places that I'm seeing some opportunities right now. Apart from that, it's so volatile. It's like going up one day, going down next day. So it's kind of like a risky move. So that's kind of it for today. If there are any stocks that you want me to look at, or any sectors, or anything you want me to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you all on Monday. And thank you for joining today's call. Bye bye.